I'm Arthur Williams, and in this episode, I'm in the USA. During this series, I'm discovering the world of Embraer. I've travelled to the Arctic Circle to witness the first commercial flight of the E2. I flew to Vietnam, a country which is experiencing a boom in tourism, come face to face with sharks on the south coast of Britain, and seen the Profit Hunter put on a breathtaking display at the Farnborough International Air Show. Join me for another incredible journey. I'm here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I arrived late last night and I woke up to this morning. I mean, just look at how stunning that beach is. The warm temperatures and beautiful beaches attract thousands of visitors each winter from Canada and the states further north. Many of these snowbirds, as they're called here, migrate to Florida on regional jets like the Embraer E175. To satisfy the demand for air travel, there's a huge need for crossover narrow-body jets, which is why the E190 E2 Profit Hunter is on a demonstration tour of the US right now. I'm about to board the beautiful E2 Profit Hunter once again for a very unique scenic flight around the Bahamas of all places. So I've just got on board and instantly I'm reminded about how comfortable it is here. We've got loads of room. There's no middle seat, huge overhead bins, nice big windows, and I'm about to be joined by some journalists from America. I'm really looking forward to speaking to some of them and getting their opinions of the aircraft as well. Does it make you incredibly proud, being Brazilian yourself, to be on board a beautiful Brazilian aircraft?
Oh, for sure. We are proud of the Brazilians, doing so well here in the US and around the world. This is a good product, and when it's a good product, it's very nice to talk about and to share and to tell other people about.
Cody, I understand you're a pilot. What brings you to join us today?
I'm also a writer for Airways Magazine.
What will you be writing about this experience today?
The first generation is so incredibly user-friendly. Standing up there, for example, today, I felt like I was at home. There's that much commonality to it, but enough where it's different to where it's supporting you, but not overwhelming to learn. It's fantastic. The less you've got to stress to learn something new is the better, for sure.
I've just come from the airport and we've been invited to lunch here at the beautiful seaside resort, but it gives me another chance to speak to some of my fellow passengers.
I was right up front, so I got what's the third best seat in the house, which after the pilot and co-pilot, and then the jump seat up in the flight deck, so got to experience it firsthand of takeoff. As far as sitting in the jump seat, obviously that's not what most people experience as a passenger on the aircraft, so it's gonna be a little different, but once I did that, I was able to go back in the cabin, and what you can't beat is the 2-2 passenger layout.
What a brilliant day I've had today. If the journalists' reaction was anything to go by, I'm sure that the E190 E2 is going to be a huge success here in North America. But I've got to get some rest now because tomorrow I continue my journey onto Indianapolis. The E2 Profit Hunter started its journey in Sao Paulo before flying to Manaus in the heart of the Amazon rainforest. It then made the long flight to Fort Lauderdale in Florida, where I caught up with the aircraft before it headed to Indianapolis. I'm in the motor racing capital of the world, but before I head to the Speedway, I've got a meeting with Brian Bedford of Republic Airlines. Republic Airlines operate a fleet of nearly 190 Embraer aircraft, and you can't help but be impressed by the sheer size of the facility they have here. Hi there, Brian.
Arthur, how are you?
Really good, thanks. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, and you. So Brian, thanks for joining me today to take the time to talk about your aircraft, your fleet. As Republic, you're the largest operator of E-jets in the world, so it's fairly safe to say that you like the jets that Embraer makes.
That's true, we love them.
And what is it about them that you particularly like?
I think what we appreciate with the Embraer is it satisfies our principal business needs, which is to provide a seamless customer experience to our major airline partners. So it's a true narrow-body product, but with regional jet operating economics.
And you have a history with Embraer going back over 2 decades. And what is it about that relationship that you like particularly, and why do you think it's such a successful one?
The foundation is that they have a very competent technical product. But even more important is the relationship that we have with the people. There's a trust that we have developed with Embraer over the years that really has become the foundation of this relationship and why we continue to go back and buy more and more of their products.
Now at Farnborough in July, you made it very evident to the world that you want that relationship to continue. You made an enormous order for 100 E-Jets, and you also took out rights to purchase a further 100 on top of that as well. And so where do you see the future with yourselves and Embraer?
Well, we're very optimistic about the future of the regional jet product in North America. There's a significant demand for the product here, and biggest challenge is finding the pilots to fly them. We're convinced that the E-Jet is the most competitive product that we can have, and we want to continue to build our future around that.
Brian, there's an endemic pilot shortage, not just in the US, but in many regions around the world as well. But here in Indianapolis, Republic Airlines are setting up a flight academy to teach those grassroots pilots to learn to fly. Could you tell me a little bit more about how you're doing that?
As exciting as ordering 100 E-Jets is, building the pilot base of the future is even more exciting for us. We have an opportunity with our new Lift Academy, Leadership and Flight Training, to literally go into schools, high schools, select students with the right talents and passion for aviation and give them an opportunity and a pathway to go from the classroom into the cockpit.
Well, the flying is something that you and I both have in common, actually. I fly back at home in the UK. Got a little Piper Cub.
Well, we're going to get you up in one of our brand new DA-40s,
Sounds good to me.
single engine plane.
Yeah.
We do that?
Yeah, why not?
Indy ground, lift 25 is coming out of the Republic maintenance hangar area. Request taxi for 1 lap in the pattern.
All right, lift 25, taxi via taxiway Alpha.
You could probably take off and land on this runway with 10,000 feet remaining.
Well, that's a pretty good view of the place, isn't it?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Hey? Can I take us downwind, Ben?
Sure, you have the controls.
I have control.
Our controls will hold about 50% power and about 1,800 feet on the downwind.
Hey.
There you go, just keep her coming down a little bit farther. I got the rudder for you. So
Yeah.
keep her coming down. All right, power all the way out. Pull the nose up just a touch more. Kiss it on the end of the runway. Just hold her. Oop, a little high, but not too bad for the first touchdown in it. It was all right.
Used to land in 747s, obviously.
Yeah.
That was good fun, thanks.
No
Nice
problem.
little aeroplane, eh?
We love them.
Well, Ben, thanks very much for flying with me. It's been really eye-opening to see how Republic are ploughing money back into community projects like the Lift program. But of course, this being Indianapolis, I can't go anywhere until I've sampled a little bit of local culture and seen for myself the Indy 500. With a history that goes back over 100 years, the Indy 500 is one of the greatest spectacles in motorsport, attracting thousands of fans on race day. I caught up with Eric Powell, curator of the Hall of Fame Museum, to find out more.
Indy 500 is the largest single-day sporting event in the world. We have about 350,000 people that come to this event every year.
It's incredible. You have 1/3 people almost make a pilgrimage from across America to come and watch this racing event.
And it's not just America, really. We have people from all over the world that come to this museum every year just to see the history. The race has been around since 1911, and you have races like Le Mans, you have races like Monaco, and then Indianapolis. This race, 2.5 mile track, so 500-mile race, it's 200 laps. For drivers, it's going to be the biggest accomplishment of their career. There's just so much tradition, so much competition. It's just a big event. It's a cool thing to be part of.
It was now time to get out on the track, not in a twin-turbo V6 Indy car, but at a slightly slower speed, on the official tour bus. Gary was my guide.
We're not in Indianapolis right now. We're in Speedway, Indiana. It's its own little town.
You've got a season ticket or something?
I have a yeah, every year. But I sit right up in these stands.
Oh, awesome. We're coming over the finish line, Gary.
Yep.
We are. We just finished our first Indy 500. I think we won.
We just finished the lap.
There's no one behind us. We burned them all.
We got it. We won. We got it.
I've had a brilliant journey here in North America. I was on board the first demonstration flight of the E190 E2. Speaking to some of the journalists, that was awesome. I then made my way up here to Indianapolis and spoke with Brian Bedford of Republic and the huge potential that the E-Jets have here in the States for the domestic market. What I was really encouraged by, though, was how they are ploughing funding back into grassroots aviation with the Lift program. My time here in the States has come to an end, but do join me next time for what is guaranteed to be another incredible journey.